throughout the history of this business, the player wants novelty. Even the latest version of Madden, the, nth version of Madden, what's the first thing, guys want and players want? It's like, what do they do new? It's friggin' Madden, okay? But they want something new. So that's the component. So, and when we were, starting out, the couple things that we had, because it was nothing, we were filling a vacuum, but we had custom controls. We could say, hey, I have a game idea and I want to have this kind of controller, and we had a mechanical department and people who would conceive of ways to create a controller that would do this custom thing.
Yeah, think of the Star Wars controller as a perfect example of that. I mean,
and then the Tempest controller came out of just one axis of that.
Right.
So there's all that, So, and for years and years and years, it came when graphics in the home became superior to what you saw in the arcade. Really, that's the only thing the arcade had left was custom controller. So, all of that novelty and innovation that can come in some of those new platforms, and, Guitar Hero had custom control,
Wii,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of Wii at the time it came out, it didn't leapfrog the previous graphic elements. It wasn't that major step that home games were taking, but that controller was so different that you saw a lot of Wii games.
So feel.
Yep,
Feel.
true.
So that Tempest knob still, the weight that it has is incredibly important to the gameplay. And it's funny to watch, the people try to port those games to modern platforms, because absent that control, these games don't make sense. And guys will come by and play Asteroids or play Tempest, at our office, and they've only have been exposed to an iPad, and they'll play Asteroids and they'll say, "Holy shit, this game is friggin' awesome!" And they'll play it for an hour. I had no idea. It's like, well, yeah, that experience has to be entirely integrated, and we have this awesome new set of devices with all this new potential for input that I think we're only
to this
touching
day,
the surface of.
I still think that Berserk was tuned by the control.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those of you who ever played the arcade version of Berserk, it was the control that tuned the game. I mean, that made it harder. Very cool game.
I think it's kind of sad that people have their only experience of old arcade games is on an iPad or on their computer with a keyboard, because they just were not designed to be played that way.
And it doesn't have the feel.
It doesn't have the feel.
Yeah.
I mean, the connectedness, the sense of connectedness to what's going on the screen is why people say that game has a great feel.
So as we embark on all of our games, how do you guys think about feel and control on these mobile platforms?
It's just as important as it was 35 years ago.
It's the new control.
What we're selling is, it's the ego gratification of you being in total control of a complex machine in a complex world out there, and you being completely connected and not here, you're in there, and in control. And so, we don't, in our daily lives, we don't have that much control. You got to get up and go to work, and got to, drive through traffic. And so if I can get that and feel that sense of control and empowerment over some complex machine, in our day, it was this giant stand-up box with these controls and, the newness of technology and all that stuff. The newness of technology is still there. It's just in your hand. But that's really what we're selling, is that ego gratification. And then also, of course, it's fun. It's got to be fun.
I use the word escape.
Yeah.
Right.
Escape.